Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. Today I want to do something a little bit different. I didn't have any inspiration for a cool sound or something like that, or a trick that I wanted to show you, which is a problem that I've been having for a little while now. The inspiration for actual music making is a little bit lacking at my part, so I'm sorry for that, but I do want to give you a video to watch, so I'm going to talk about the theory behind recreating sounds and that kind of stuff, and kind of go over my process for analyzing a sound and seeing what it does. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Before I want to start the video, I wanted to talk a little bit about feedback. I've been getting a lot of requests from people if I would give feedback on their songs and their productions, and I really want to do that, but I really don't have means of doing that right now. That's why I'm experimenting with setting up a Discord server, and in the future I hope that I can use that to, you know, announce streams, do like feedback streams, and kind of get input from you, so that you can give me your productions and I can listen to them and give you the feedback that you want. I'm going to give more news on that later. If I am ready, if it's already ready, I'll leave a link in the description so you can already join it. If not, I'll say in an upcoming video that it's ready and you will be able to join it then, and I'm going to start using it for more community interaction. But without further ado, I want to start talking about the sound design topic that I have in mind for today. So let's go. Alright, so I've set up a little project here with one of my latest releases. Which, by the way, is already uploaded to Spotify. You might have seen it if you have missed it. Now the link in the description is changed, so you can listen to my final release. If you follow the channel, you know that there was some problems with that. But that's now uploaded and it should be working. So let's go over it. I have the second main lead from that song, and we're going to go over the theory on how to recreate it here. So let's listen to it first in context and kind of go over what I normally do when doing this. So the lead sound is down below here, but I want to really focus down on a lead sound in a track, because that's where you normally hear something like that. So the way I go about this is first is, of course, analyzing the sound. What am I hearing? So to do that, what I would usually do is like pull up a document somewhere, but for now we're going to just open this up and we're gonna write in here. So what I heard was like a smearing FM style lead sound. FM lead aggressive, sustained is maybe a good description, and I write down these keywords to kind of give me the feeling that I need for the exact sound. So I'll usually write down between 3 and 5 keywords that really describe the sound. So here we have the smearing FM. Oh, I wrote that down wrong. FM lead sound. It's aggressive and it's sustained, so it doesn't have like a percussive element to it. That's the very first step I do. I identify the sound and write down what makes the sound and what it actually sounds like. This is very important, because otherwise you might you know, drift off immediately and not be able to tell what you're actually doing. Then comes the second part, which is identifying where it's playing. And with this what I mean, it's not only in the spectrum where is it playing, so which part of the spectrum is being used to actually play the sound, but also like the stereo and in which part of the song, which is also very important. So what I'm going to do for this is, first of all, I'm going to sweep it up, because I have a wild guess that it's not going to be in the sub bass, seeing as it's a lead sound. So I'm just going to pull it up and see if I can still hear the entire sound. And then for the second, or for the low pass, we're also going to turn this down. And I'm using very steep filters for this, because then you get the best results. So now we have kind of narrowed down an area where it's playing. So between 12.6K and 450 Hertz. So knowing that, we can also focus on like the stereo field, and from what I heard, it's very much in the mono field, and it doesn't really have a lot of ambience to it. It's a very in-your-face part of the track. It's not a background element. So knowing that, we can start the actual sound design. Now I already have the sound here, so this is the sound that we're actually going to be describing and stuff like that. And I'm not going to go over how it's made, but what I will go over is kind of the different things I tend to try when doing this sound design. So normally I just make a little MIDI, which kind of works. In this case, the rhythm is very easily identifiable, so I can just copy over maybe the rhythm of the exact sound here. And then what I will do, if I solo this, is first kind of get the low or the mid-range or the fundamentals of the sound working well. So what I mean with that, if we actually listen back in the track, you can see we have some fundamentals here, and then we just basically have a whole bunch of extra harmonics, but it's essentially noise at that point because they're so close together and there's so many of them that it becomes that noise, that fizzly feeling that it has. So I tend to work in Serum because that's the plugin I'm most familiar with, and having a description of the sound and identifying this as an FM lead, I immediately just set up a basic FM setup, for example, from a sine wave to, oh, I don't know, let's try a different wave here, something like this, a very harmonic wave, because I identified that there were a lot of harmonics. I was able to quickly know that we should probably not go for two basic waves, but something a little bit more interesting. So now let's listen to this, what we have here. I'm going to loop this and we'll have a listen. And what you can hear immediately is that the frequency range isn't quite what we wanted. And we can also check that on the spectrum again. You can see it's very, very low. So we can just turn this up a little bit. And what we can now do is start to filter out the frequencies that we don't want. So we'll take like a high pass. We can also do it in here, of course. And once I have the basic tone down and the basic feeling of the sound, we can move on to the second part where it's actually getting the modulation. So towards the end of the phrasing here, if you listen to the original, you can hear there's this high pass feeling. It has a lot more high end. So what we can do to emulate that is, for example, set up a macro, and we'll set it up as an EQ band. And we'll set up the frequency. And this band is just gonna sweep up, giving that more high end feeling. Maybe we want a bit more even. And if we want, we can, for example, also set this to go up a little bit to, again, emphasize that feeling a bit more. And now we can start with our phrasing. And we know that the macro 3 is gonna go up here towards the end. And by identifying the different things that make a sound work, we can really dive in and kind of treat these modulations as different elements. And being able to identify a specific element is very, very important. And that's not something I have tricks for or something, that's just something that you need to learn over time. So what I recommend for that is just open up a track that you like, for which you might already have the sound, and try something like this where you just recreate the sound from scratch without actually looking into the patch, and then see what you did right and see how the modulations stack up and if they're the same idea that you had. And yeah, I hope this helps as kind of a guideline for how to do sound design in this way if you're into making sounds that you like in a track, then this can definitely be helpful. As I said, I'm opening up a Discord server, and I hope to make that work as soon as possible so I can start doing feedback for you guys, something many people have been asking for. So if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe because that's coming up. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like because that really helps. And for now, bye bye.